Now you can't see because, boom, there it is. So I'm gonna be making a lot of people very mad now, I think. It's gonna be fun. But I was asked, like, hey, what's my favorite Resident Evil game, stuff like this, right? I don't know, can I edit this on the way here? Can I add like a new level or some shit? Did you know? Add a row below. There we go. I'm gonna add one row for games I just have not played. Because like this two games I'm not playing. Alright, so not play definitely is Umbrella Chronicles. RE-verse, that you don't give a fuck. This will be easy to go through. Resistance, no thanks. Umbrella Corps. That's ORC, right? Yeah, we played that. No, this is Operation Raccoon City. Then Umbrella Corps is even something else, right? The Mercenaries 3D I did not play. Revelations we played. 5, 4. Outbreak 2, Outbreak 1. Dead Aim. That's 0. That's the GameCube remake. That's Gun Survivor. It's not the same as Code Veronica X, right? So let's put this here. I've not played Gaiden. It's also another thing. Survivor I've also not played, sadly. Actually, we can play a lot of games still. It's just like smaller games. Okay. Technically, because we have the GameCube remake here. There. We have the GameCube remake here. I'm going to put the very original Resident Evil down here as well as not played. Because I have not played this specific version of RE1. And so we're coming now to the point of like, okay, what have I played? Right. Let's start still like a little bit historically here with what I played initially. What I definitely have played is Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4 was my entry to Resident Evil because I was thinking, well, this is the action game, right? Like this is something I probably will get into more easily rather than any of the other games because I was so far into the journey, far into the genre, right? Also, I can, of course, put Requiem down to not played yet as well. Hype, definitely S-rank. I'm very hyped for this one. But yeah. So what do I think of Resident Evil 4, the original? We played the PC version here, not on GameCube. Still a lot of fun. And I like the writing, I like the way the story was told. It was really, really a lot of fun here. It's definitely at least A tier, maybe even S tier. I think my problem is because I've not seen RE2 before that, it felt a little bit odd starting with these Leon first. It would have probably been way cooler to see the change after you've seen Resident Evil 2 and then play RE4. In a way, though, that at least had room to grow. But again, if there's any game that would be considered S-rank, it will be definitely RE4, the original. Pretty sure that's how we should treat this. I actually gotta go and check my playlist here when we played the other things. Like, so we're, going in order here because I played Resident Evil 4 and then we went with a lot of other games in between, right? Also some Silent Hill here. So there we go, I check my playlist. So first Resident Evil 4. Then we played some Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3. And then only I played finally Resident Evil, the remake. It's just here. So that version of the game, absolutely fantastic. My big problem, only played Jill's story, not Chris' story. So that's definitely one thing I still have yet to play. I technically just played one half of the game. And I think playing the other campaign as Chris is crucial to understanding the game fully. Just based on having done one playthrough of Jill, because I was still technically very new to this genre still. Felt a little bit uncomfortable. I definitely liked it a lot. They had some puzzles that really annoyed me, like this armor puzzle. Oh my god. That was such a nuisance that I actually recorded now after so long. Because let me check. Resident Evil originally was played on January 8th, 2024. This is 2 years ago. So it's a long while ago, but I still remember it for that one thing. Ironically, after that, we did not play 2. We played 0. Where would I put 0 though? Story-wise, I don't know. Like, it gave me definitely some B to C tier stuff. However, I think it's just a modest game in the middle here. Yeah, there was some things like with the item management and everything that was not cool, but it's definitely fun and recommendable to play. At least in the PC version, where we also had the loads removed and everything, you know, instant loader and everything. Yeah. Definitely for me, a very good game. Let's put it here for now. We can still move things around as we add more and be like, where do we put things? Okay, so in the series of playthroughs then, Silent Hill 2 remake came out. So we actually didn't even play RE2 until a while. Because like Silent Hill 2 remake came out like October 6th. That's when I played it. Then I played Zelda Echoes of Wisdom as well. And then finally, if I see this correctly here, like, okay, the playlists are a bit disordered here. March 12th, 2024. So in January, I played Resident Evil 1 and then 0. And then in March, I played finally Resident Evil 2, the remake. So another thing I've not done actually is play the original Resident Evil 2. There's another gap here. So at least the original Resident Evil can still be played, should still be played for me. Resident Evil 2 should still be played for me because I only played the remake. I think the remake, S tier. Absolutely fantastic for the genre, especially now in hindsight. I think RE2 is really freaking good. Really freaking good. So much fun. At least that one I played also both sides. I first played Leon and then Claire. Really a lot of fun for me to play through. From then on, this is at least where I say at least play both things, right? From then on, I played Resident Evil 3. But not just the remake, which we have here. I also played at least the original version. So the original version, I played the PC version on GOG, again with loads removed and everything. I personally liked 3 a lot. 3 was very high to me. I'm not sure if I put it on S rank, but it's definitely a high A. Anything that's B or higher, I would always recommend, and then, you know, make your own opinion on that. But S is something that like you should definitely have played this if you like it in general, right? And then after I played 3, I immediately went and played the remake just because it was there. And I think the remake, here's the thing, I always argue. I like the remake as a continuation of Resident Evil 2, right? Resident Evil 3 is not a remake necessarily of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. It is the sequel to Resident Evil 2 remake. And under that little viewpoint, I think that is actually better. Right? I just say, I know there's stuff missing that people really, really liked. But as a continuation of RE2R, I think RE3R is very, very good. And I would almost say better even than the original. Not to say that the original is also not worth playing. That basically like 2 different games in vibe, I think. Very risky to admit that, but I think that's how I view 3R. I'm gonna get slaughtered when I post this. Next up, Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Now I played the PS2 version on my PS5, which used the PS4 copy, which is a backwards compatible thing. Really, really fun to play this way. Played really well. I fucking love Code Veronica. It's so cheesy. It's so weird. I definitely still have to play Gun Survivor because I like Code Veronica. There's really not much that annoyed me. It's just a little bit weird in how things are moving around. But I think because I was technically still a noob, as I've only played these games yet until that point, I was not too familiar with it. The more I played the older games, especially the weirder games, the more I was like, yeah, all right, I think I fuck with it. A rank though, not S rank. Like, would I put Code Veronica on the same step as these 3? No. I would definitely put, the more we go left, I think, is still better. So it's still Resident Evil Original, then Code Veronica, and then 3 Nemesis. Okay? I think that's where I put this one. Still a freaking big fun game. Really, really fun. Okay, next up, apparently my list here, March 13th, is Resident Evil 4 Remake. It is still RE4. It's still a lot of fun. But I think, you know, compared to the original RE4, it's just because it's so much more in a serious tone, it's kind of also a little bit more bland. And if you were to ask me, which one should I play? 4 original or Resident Evil 4 remake? If you get down with the way the original controls with everything it does now these days, I think it's definitely worth playing the original more. I think I'm dropping down Resident Evil 4. And just to be extra I even put it on the same as 0. I don't think Resident Evil 4 Remake is necessary to enjoy playing. It's short of being C even below here, where it's like, yeah, you can actually skip and you would not miss out too much. It's still a very high quality product, but just because it's high quality does not mean it's worth watching, especially if we have a perfectly good, still very much playable version of Resident Evil 4 everywhere still. So I think Resident Evil 4 is very much like so close to be like, yeah, you can play or not, doesn't matter too much. Definitely recommend to watch or play, especially the original RE4. What happens after RE4? Well, next up is... What is that? That is another Chronicles game that we've not played, right? And then here. Resident Evil Revelations. Okay, I'm gonna be goofy. Now, I'll put it right now on B just so it's somewhere, but I think Revelations, personally, between original and Code Veronica. It's a lot of fun. I do not know which I would put higher. It's like definitely between Code Veronica and the original's remake. It definitely belongs in A tier. If you want to get more of your Resident Evil, you want to play more than just the number titles, play Revelations. So worth it. Now, after that, we played 5. To no one's surprise, I'm like, man, you should probably still know what happens in 5. And Chris, you know, taking out Wesker at the end of 5, so worth watching. But should you play it actually? I think it's a lot of product of its time, you know? It was developed in an era where there was a lot of online and multiplayer gaming, and you can tell just by how strong the piss filter on this one is. Yeah, it shows its age. At least on PC, we can modify that a little bit with a filter. It'll be cool. Should you play it, or maybe just rather watch it? I would probably put it here between 0 and 4. Yeah, you could play it. Definitely fun with a friend in co-op. I think if you were just playing online, I would actually skip it. If you're just playing it single player, I'm like, nah, you know what? I don't know if you really should bother. Unless you like really like Resident Evil, maybe skip this one player-wise. And if you have like a friend to play with, sure, knock it out. I had a lot of fun with Horizon when I played it. You know, for me personally, my experience with it, that's like B tier. Good shit for sure. Let's just leave it here for now. I'm gonna have a sip. What do you guys think about this in chat? Like, again, I don't think there's any game in the series, at least up until now, where I would say it's so bad it goes like beyond C and lower. Like, I don't know. Like D tier at this point here, like let's put it like to give an explanation. S tier is like definitely should play this. Even if you're not in the genre, S tier is like play this. If you are down for a little bit of creepy vibe, 2, 3, and 4 original, or 2R, 3R, and 4 original, like go for that shit. Trash, all right. A is definitely like super worth playing, but can be, you know, a little bit odd ones out. Like, I don't know if you're down for that. That's definitely for everyone. And then B is the tier where like, yeah, if you want to dig deep, you should play this as well. And then anything below, like C and below, I think is like, yeah, you probably want to skip this. So again, like what I said, if you play 5 single player, I don't know. With a friend, yeah, sure, bump it up. That's how I played it. All right, after 5 came Revelations 2. Revelations 2 belongs in D. Not that it's a bad quality product. I find the writing fucking obnoxious. It's so forgetful, except for the little girl going, monster! That's the only meme that I take from this. I think Revelations 2 can take a piss and leave. I just not vibe with Revelations 2. no. I'm glad I played it, because now I can say I played it. You know what? Fucking don't like it. And here's the thing, that is...
will be released into the atmosphere.
This will go straight into Resident Evil 6. I think it's perfectly fine at C. Like, if you play with a friend, it's definitely right next to 5 and 6. But then if you play it solo, both of them go down in C. That's just... Maybe I should leave them here and then like a annotation like, hey, you know, we're friends that maybe B tier. And it's like, yeah, what's interesting to see, because it's a mainline game. But you can also just watch a full playthrough video on YouTube, and you get basically the same idea. Like, it's not a loss to not have played it, and that what makes it down to C tier, right? And now we're gonna leave with a lot of side games here, which is a lot of fun for me. After 6, in May 2025, so last year, we played Dead Aim. And tell you what, Dead Aim, under specific conditions, at least B tier. It definitely belongs all the way on the right, I think. It's not one of those games like, yeah, you should see this. This is definitely still like a specialist experience. But if you ever have a light gun, or if you play like me, what I did, I played on PSX2 on emulation, and I used actually my mouse to aim to simulate like shooting with the light gun. It was short. It was at least interesting enough for what it was, and I had fun. Yeah, the final few stages were a bit like, I don't know, but it was so interesting to see what they tried to do with this. Putting Dead Aim here, I think is granted. I think it's still granted. Now, next up, in June last year, June 2025, we played Operation Raccoon City. Skip this. Honestly, skip this. It's a side game, and like, yeah, I played it. I finished it even, but like, man, nah. I don't think that's where it should go. I just don't think that's where it belongs. Followed from ORC is Outbreak and Outbreak Fire 2. Now, people will hate me. I like it because it's weird, but I had a lot of fun. I'm going to put both games here next to Free Nemesis. It's not as great as Code Veronica X, but I think it belongs to me in the... You know what? You should definitely have experienced it. If you can get it to work with like online multiplayer, I think there's a lot more here. This is when I played Outbreak, I was really getting more like, okay, I'm down for the horror survival vibes. It was so much reminiscing of the originals, which I have not played, as I said, 2 and 3, but like at least 3 original, 4 original even. And it felt more back to like the basics. So yeah. I liked it so much, I would grant it the A tier here. Which a lot of people would absolutely disagree. Like, what shit? Like, what are they thinking? You know what? That's everyone's own taste. For me, I really had a good time here. Yes, I needed to look up some stuff in a guide because it was not self-explanatory. But those small things going left and right, I did really enjoy it. And especially Outbreak Fire 2, the final reveal, which was going straight basically into what led us to think like, oh shit, we maybe have a lead on what happened in Resident Evil 9. Requiem, you know? So there's that. That was June. And then we took a long break last year until, well, fall, right? I played Silent Hill F when they came out, end of September, excuse me. We played Penumbra, of course. Played a lot of Dispatch in the one Sunday, that was great. We played Silent Hill 4 The Room just end of last year. And now, this year, in January 2026, I finally played Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is really fucking cool. And per default, it should belong here. Should it belong in S? Now, that's tricky. For a lot of people, it is absolutely S rank. Because they're like it's going back to the old games, and then the new Gen Z, and they also love it. I think the game really falls short after we leave the house. After Lucas, I think the game ends like, I don't know. It ends in a typical way of like, we leave in the main location to go to some underground stuff, which in this case was the salt mine, right? And we get a glimpse of what Evelyn is. I think, and now hear me out, I think it's just fine between Code Veronica and Outbreak. It's just a line. Anything above 7, I'm like, should play. The A ranks are like a little bit weird, but again, like it's really worth it. Anything below 7, I'm like, okay, could be weird. I can understand if you don't want to play it, but I would still highly encourage you to play it yourself. At least the first Outbreak, right? What I think belongs here in S rank still is Village. We literally just finished Village yesterday. We played the DLC Shadow of Rose. I think Village, if you like action Resident Evil, right? There's a lot of people that say, I only like the more horror survival games and they would actually not put any of the action games here. I have sort of a mix between those here. We're gonna still shuffle through a little bit here to see an order, but I think Village belongs up in the S tier because it's really well done. It heavily balances, great, you know, okay, there's a Lady Dimitrescu in the cast of Dimitrescu as a big like follower like Nemesis is and Mr. X and everything. Great. They made a big old fight leading into a very spooky place. Everything gets taken away from you and you're like, okay, you're actually gonna struggle. There's a lot of puzzles now happening here. It's a completely different vibe. And it was, while it was short, it was so good and high quality. I think it exactly stayed where it needed to be. Then we got Moreau. Moreau was also short. Well, my action, a forgetful puzzle with the solution is literally right there on the panel. And Tanks of Chasers, yeah. And then Heisenberg, I think Heisenberg alone, people really undersold Heisenberg or have just literally forgotten about Heisenberg because of Lady Dimitrescu. Heisenberg is such a fucking fun character. Horrible monster, of course, but still, now that I played it, I think like, man, people have not taught enough about Heisenberg, or at least when the game came out, I have not heard enough about Heisenberg. It was all just Lady Dimitrescu. Yeah, she's the first big villain we fight, but Heisenberg, fucking goated, worth watching. And then the end, you know, the heartbreaker end. And then Shadow of Rose really did well with that as well. Continuo did not, yeah, it did reuse the same locations basically, but had some twists on it. Shadow of Rose was so much worth playing as well. It really enhanced Village even more. I think Village is up there in S tier. Now, we don't need to sort out DT here, right? I think like ORC and Revelations 2, like just leave them down there, it's fine. Same with C tier, 5 and 6 is equal, like, hey, watch a video or just, you know, play together. Like I said, if you play with friends, sure, it goes into B, like, yeah, if you have a friend along, sure, play with them. Now, B tier is like the wacky games for sure, and 0 could be almost A. 0 could be like all the way to right to Nemesis, where it's like on the border, on the cusp of it. I don't know. I still put it in B here. Because I can see when people go like, yeah, I didn't like 0. And like, yeah, I mean, could have skipped it as well. 4 is only in B tier because the OG is still so much better. Of course, if you're like more like a modern player and you don't like 10 controls, for example, fair enough, put it higher. For me, I vibe so much with the original, I did not need this remake. It's good that we have it still, but it does not replace the original to me personally. And then Dead Aim, again, very specific case where I liked it because the controls felt great. If you're playing on the PS2 controller like that, I can understand how you like absolutely don't like it. But with the, you know, fake light gun with a mouse control, it was really fun for me. And it had a great save film that not enough people talk about. It's just 3 notes, but it's so good, so chill. Now again, the A ranks here. I think the order makes sense for me. Maybe I should Nemesis over here more. Like if you go from left to right, really worth playing. Of course, the original remake here. Revelations, I think. Sure. A lot of people would argue, no, it's never like that. At least Biohazard has to be here. Yeah, but you know, Biohazard is just, it's both a new chapter, which is great. But at the same time, like it also reuses a lot of older stuff. And like, it's just like a best of, like we extracted basically what made the other games great and made a new game out of it. It's like it's not its fault. I don't push it for that, but it also doesn't really push the envelope. It's a very safe play to come back to the roots of it, especially after Revelations in RE6. But that does not automatically put it into S tier for me. It's actually just in the middle of the A tiers here. So free Nemesis again, I like that a lot. But I can understand when you put it rather over to B. Same with the Outbreaks. It's not for everyone. But this is my list and my taste, and I explained in length now why I liked it. And I don't know, just vibe with it. Same with Code Veronica. You know, all of these like are just mine. No, S tier is probably where like a lot of people will chop my head off. They're like, no, RE2R is the best. Or why is even RE3 up here? Like, again, I said RE3R only if you use it as like a sequel to RE2R, not an actual remake of it. Yeah, sure, they named it differently. Yeah, but you know, there's a lot of how many things you can do here. Now, the tough question, Silent Hill RE. Oh, God. Both S tier series of games, okay? They're both great games and terrible games. I've yet to play the terrible games, because I only played Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4. But you know. I will definitely dig in more into Silent Hill now. But as I just learned, like, there's a lot of Resident Evil games I still have not played. I probably will never play The Verse and Resistance. Umbrella Corps, I don't know, nah. Umbrella Chronicles, I don't think so. Same with the other Chronicles here. Mercenaries 3D, nah. Gun Survivor, yes. Gaiden, yes. Survivor, yes. And of course, Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. I think these 5 games here on the right, I will play them and then sort them again here. Yeah, I think that is something that still will happen at some point. I just don't know when. And of course, Requiem, not played yet because it's not out. It can be anywhere. I'm hoping it's an S tier. Could also be, it's just A. I don't know. We'll see when it comes out. A Village or Silent Hill F? Oh, God. It's 2 different genres entirely. Silent Hill F is like a Souls-like almost, but not fully committing to it. And Village is just an action movie with a lot of fun and very great, you know, puzzles there. It's like, I just can't really put them in the same thing. It's like apples and bananas. It's, hard to compare. Both totally worth playing, but for different reasons. You know. I think still RE4 OG stays here in my number 1. I think if I want to commit to a number 1 game, I think it will just be 4 OG. And a lot of people will be like, no, I don't agree. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you have a different taste. You probably will put then the original here, because maybe you played it as a kid. I don't know, I've not played this one. And from the games that I played, you know, this is currently my order. I don't say A rank is not worth playing. Everything from B and higher is worth playing. There's a lot of games that are worth playing, just like a general label. Recommended. The only games where I'm like, you can skip it is 5 and 6, and games you should definitely skip is Revelations 2 and ORC. So like everything C and higher are at least good games, great games, fantastic games. So that's where you should actually put it. Okay, but I think this is it. This is all I have here. Let me just save it here. I'll just download it and then... Maybe I come back later after Requiem comes out and we're going to sort it in here. All right.